today's session is very, very interesting. And I'm sure most of you would have heard of something known as MCP, standing for Model Context Protocol, right? So I hope you can see my screen. Can you give me a confirmation that you can see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So to understand this concept, guys, first of all, let's go to any of the LLM. For example, I'm going here to Anthropic Cloud, and let's say any simple query I'm going to ask here. So first of all, I'm going to say that suggest me, suggest me um, a nice bank to take photos. Okay, so what I'm asking, a nice bank to take photos, and let's see what this tool does. As you can see, um, it's a high-end model. It's not something outdated. So Sonnet 4 is the model, and I have a paid version also. So I'm a pro member, so I can use the like top model here. As you can see here, it is saying when I say nice bank to take photos, it is telling me Lloyds of London, go and take the photo, Bank of England, HSBC building, etc. Right? And then I go and say, oh, by bank, I meant I meant Thames, which is a river in London, Thames Bank, right? And now the answer or response will completely change. So it says, the Thames River Bank, much better for photography than financial institutions. Here are some fantastic spots along the Thames for photos. So now the answer is completely changed. Previously, it was giving me financial institution, banks, buildings for taking photos. Now it is telling me go to different uh, areas or different parts of Thames River in London. So north side you can go, or Victoria Embankment, or Temple area, or Tower of London area. So basically the second answer is what I was asking for, but till I gave a context, I'm not getting that answer. So one important learning from here is your LLM is as good as the context you give to it. So most important thing that we need to understand is LLMs are LLMs are good only with context. If you don't give context, then it's just a general purpose thing for doing some generic stuff. But at the moment you want to build any uh, production ready applications, right, then it will start creating problems. So this word is here very important. Providing context is really important whenever you want to build any app which should be deployed in the production, or which should be reliable, which you want to rely upon. Then you can't mess up with the context. One problem that everybody is facing, or in the advancement of AI, right, the problem which we are facing is how to maintain this context in a multi-com problem. So what is the meaning of multi-com problem? I'll tell you. For example, let's say this is my app, an LLM application, you can say LLM app, and I go and ask to this LLM app, tell me who is Aman's manager. Tell me, let's say my name is Aman. I am working in any organization, right? So if I go and ask to LLM, tell me who is Aman's manager and what is his experience. So first thing that is going to happen is, if it's a LLM app without any RAG or without any tool access or resource access, right? It is simply going to do two things. One is it is going to tell I don't know. That is still okay. But second, and more, more possibility of that happening is it will and that too confidently. This is a very big problem. If your application doesn't know any answer, right? And it tells that I don't know, that is still acceptable. But if it tells Aman's manager is some ABC person and here is his or her experience, then that's a problem. So when for example, this is your, let's say, LLM application, and this question is coming from a client side, so client application, right? So when this client, imagine this is your client, this is your client app, and this is your server, or let's say LLM app or a chatbot, whatever you call it. Whenever you are interacting with an app, whenever the client is interacting with a server, then the importance of context is very important here again. So let's say uh, one thing is Aman's manager name is, it found out Steve. Just an example, it found out that Aman's manager name is Steve. Now it has to find Steve's experience as well, right? And so there are two parts of it. First, find who is Aman's manager, that is Steve. Second part is what is Steve's experience. So two different uh, parts should happen here to finish this work. And in this happening, right, again your context will come into picture. If your context gets messed up, right, then your application will not be reliable and you can't use it for sensitive use cases or even normal use cases as well. So from your learning of AI till now, if you know basics, how many of you know basics of agentic AI? Can you give me a message? Do you know how agents work or agentic AI work? Do you know basics of agentic AI? Anyone? I have taken multiple sessions on agentic AI. So just you can watch later, but I will just give you the link. I mean, tell you where are those. So you can go to lab recordings, and you can go to, first of all, if you don't know anything about agentic AI, go to lab 32, building an AI agent from scratch. Watch this once. You will get an idea of what is an AI agent and how it works. Once you watch this, then you can go and watch another lab, building AI agents with Padentic AI. Third one, building multi-agent system with Crew AI. So me and Luca have taken multiple sessions on agentic AI. So all these are available here. So for example, building low-code AI agents with Langflow. Many sessions are there. You can go and watch on agentic AI. But at a very, very high level, agentic AI is basically, um, people are calling it AI 3.0, where AI itself decides what it needs to do. For example, you can think of, there is an AI system, and to this AI system you tell that, uh, plan a vacation for me in October for Europe. That's all. That's what you do. Plan a vacation, you tell. And then agentic AI, what it will do is it will go and search on different travel portals, which are good places in Europe to visit in October, how to get the cheapest ticket, how to get the cheapest accommodation, create a full plan for you, use multiple resources, multiple APIs, multiple uh, mm, data stores, and then it is going to give you a complete plan. Here is your vacation plan, and in this process it is going to do multiple things, it is going to use multiple resources, but it is going to do all these things and give you a final plan at a very high level. That is agentic AI. But I encourage you that this is a most interesting and most in demand topic for this year in AI. You must learn about it, agentic AI. Go and read about it. And they are calling it autonomous AI or AI 3.0, where you give a goal to the AI and AI performs some tasks and help you achieve your goal without much of your instructions. So it will do all these things on its own. That is your agentic AI. One problem with agentic AI is, not one problem, multiple problems with agentic AI. What has happened, what people has seen is, so I gave you an example of vacation planning, right? So let's say this is your AI application or agent. So I will call this travel agent. Travel agent. To this travel agent, you give a prompt, or you say that plan me a vacation of Europe in the month of October. So what it is going to do, it is going to find some data from, let's say, a weather API, because you want a pleasant weather in Europe, right, when you are going to visit. So suppose it's going to use an weather API and it's going to fetch the weather information from this, because it will help it to plan your travel. That is number one. Number two is, let's say it goes and hits a travel website or flight website like Skyscanner or these kind of websites, right? So maybe a flight portal or flight website, whatever you can call it, flight portal. Third thing, it can, what it might need is, it might need to read some reviews. So for example, if the place to visit is, let's say, Germany, it might need to understand in October what to visit in Germany, how is the review, how is the rating, etc. So some portal where there are ratings, reviews. So just an example, I will say Reddit. Not, it might not be Reddit, but let's assume it's Reddit. What this agent is doing is, in the process of solving your problem, it is interacting with multiple external APIs, resources, websites, etc. Imagine there is one more agent, a different agent altogether, a different agent. Okay. And to this different agent, you give a task. So you say that, um, I am traveling to Europe in October. What items I should carry? Okay, so you are worried that there will be cold in Europe in October. So you want to know what cold items you should carry. So this is basically a travel agent, and this is a, let's say, guide, a simple guide for your travel. Again, this guy will go and hit weather API. Again, this guy will go and maybe read some reviews. So we can call it Reddit, and a number of things it can do. One thing to note here is, if I go and create multiple agents, for example, this is my agent one, this is my agent two, and I can create a number of agents. Every time I create an agent and I'm using an external tool or external data source or external resources, I need to take care of how my agent is interacting with this separately. So when I'm creating my agent, I need to ensure this communication is smooth. Here also, I need to ensure this is smooth. Not only this, not only this. When you are asking a query, so for example, let's say you give a city as an input here. So I will take London as a city. You give here as an input. So how do you take care of this communication here? So for agent one, you have to do it separately. Understand this problem, guys. For agent two, you have to do it separately. And if you define 100 agents, right, how your agent will talk to client, that is one, and how your agent will talk to the tools, resources, and portals it is accessing to, that is two. If I'm defining many agents, there is a huge problem of something known as scalability. So it's not smooth. It's not smooth. The reason being, there could be only minor difference between how the communication is happening here and how it is happening here. There could be a minor difference, but still I need to write everything from the scratch. So when I want to scale it, right, it's going to be a big problem. So that is a scalability problem. Okay. What is the other problem with uh, agents? So context management is another problem. Give me a moment, guys. I'll just take my phone. So the context need to flow between here to here and here to here. Okay. So for example, I'm searching for London. London should flow from client end to this agent end to these ends, right? So this is a context management. So context management is another problem because it will become complicated. Context management. So what people have thought is, in place of doing this like one by one and defining for every communication, every agent, people have come up with a concept called MCP. And what is MCP is basically, if you go to Google and search MCP, right, you are going to get a website here, Model Context Protocol. And it's very simple concept here. Uh, Model Context Protocol is an open protocol that standardizes how applications provide context to LLM. Very simple. So when I'm saying the providing context, right? For example, if you say this is my agent one and this is my agent two, how agent one is getting context and how agent two is getting context, it is a standard process in the world of MCP. I'm going to show you a demo also now, don't worry, but just try to understand the concept first. So MCP is a protocol that standardizes how applications provide context to LLM. Think of MCP like a USB-C port for AI application. Just as USB-C provides a standardized way to connect your devices to various accessories, MCP provides a standardized way to connect AI models to different data sources and tools. So what it is saying is, whenever you are, so here is a client, okay, here is a server or agent, and here are the tools and resources supporting it. So what MCP is telling you is, let's finalize a way in which this communication will happen. Now, how it will solve the problem, how it will solve the scalability problem is, suppose this weather API is going to be used in 100 different agents. All these 100 guys will use the same way of talking to this weather API. And hence, plugging weather API into your application is going to be very easy because the way of communication is fixed. That is first benefit using MCP. Second one is, as I told you, context management in a complex scenario is normally difficult. If you fix a way, for example, you say that I will pass a string, I will always pass a string from here to here. And if I don't pass a string, don't proceed further. Give me an error and ask for a string. If you finalize these kind of protocols, right, then the context management is also going to be simpler and easier. Now, next thing is, what is there in MCP? Very simple structure. You can see here. It's a very simple concept. Nothing too complex here. First of all, in MCP, you will have five main things. One is called MCP hosts. MCP hosts are like programs, basically computer programs that want to access data through MCP. MCP clients, protocol client that maintains one-to-one connection with server. So if this is getting complicated, let me try to explain you here. It's very simple to understand. So you can think of, it's a client server architecture. You will have a client and you will have a server. This is your client and this is your server. Inside the server, you can have server's own resources. For example, you can have tools like the example I gave you here, right? So you can have weather API, flight portal, Reddit, whatever. You can have tools and you can have your resources inside the server. The client comes and asks a query to the server. The client comes and asks a query to the server. The server will use these tools and resources and give the response back to the client. Now, some of you who is aware of agentic AI concept, you will say that how it is different from agentic AI, because agentic AI also same thing. User goes and asks a query to the agent. Agent will use tools and resources and give the answer. But the difference here is this is an interview question people may ask you when you go for AI interviews. In AI agents, right? In AI agents, agents decide which tools and resources to call. So control is in agent's hand. But in MCP, program or user controls. Program or user controls what tools and resources to call. Obviously there will be intelligence of LLM, but most of the control is in through prompts, right? Most of the control is in user's hand, what tools to be called or what resources to be called. In case in case the client, the server does not find the relevant answers, right? There is very low risk of, almost no risk of hallucination here. There is no risk of hallucination. The reason is, you are saying to, when you are firing a query in MCP, right? What you are saying is, you are saying, here are the tools you have access to and here are the resources you have access to. If you find answer in these, give me the answer. If you don't find the answer, just tell me I don't have the answer. So it's a plain, simple and straightforward, with more control through the program, through the user, and less control to the, almost no control to the agent. So in agentic AI, like in the beginning I gave you example, right? In agentic AI, your agent will decide what steps I need to perform to reach this. And in this process, what tools I need to call, what website I need to hit, what portals I need to hit. All these things agent will take care in agentic AI. But in the world of MCP, people are making it little simpler and little more reliable. That is your MCP. Now, if you see this image, right, you will be able to correlate. In your computer, there could be a host. Host means you can think of anywhere where from you can fire a query. Host will, through MCP protocol, talk to a MCP server. This MCP server can talk to a local data source, or through web API it can talk to a remote service, or same thing, through web API it can talk to a remote service. So if somebody asking you what is a model context protocol architecture, you can simply say it's a client server architecture where the COM is happening via MCP protocol between client and server. Server has its own data sources and tools and resources which server can hit and get the information and then respond back to the host. Host means client. Any queries up to here? Is it clear up to here?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is this page, right? I'll give you this page. This page is really good. You take a note of this and keep it in your somewhere, save it, bookmark it. The reason is, MCP is a very new concept, guys. They might want to check this when you go to interview. And if you don't know about anything about MCP, go to this page, learn about MCP from here, and we will just quickly see this as well. MCP hosts means program that want to access data through MCP. Simple. Clients and host are little related. You can simply think of client sits inside the host. That's it. Server, lightweight program that each exposed to specific capabilities through the model context protocol. I will show you example now, don't worry. Local data sources and remote services. So if you have to explain MCP architecture, you can explain like this. If you have to do some hands-on, right, I will show you a different hands-on knowingly. The reason is, there are two reasons for that. If you go here, you can follow the instructions and you can build a MCP application by following instructions here. So that's not a difficult thing to do. You can do it. And I will also give you a link to my YouTube videos where I have shown exactly how to do that. So let me, yeah, if you don't know, this Unfold Data Science is my channel. You go to Unfold Data Science, and if you scroll little bit, right, only little bit, you will see a MCP crash course video here, just 1 month before I created. Let me give you this link as well. Okay, so if you go here, you will find a video, MCP crash course for beginners. And here I have used this particular way to create a MCP application. So try to create on your own after the session. If you face any issues, whatever I have done in this video, right, I have, you can take reference from here. But today what I'm going to show you is different, so that you have two different things to refer. So let me first run the application and show you. So this is the application I have built, and what is happening in this application is, whenever somebody is talking of MCP, always think in two ways, just two ways. Just think, where is the client and where is the server? Inside the server, what are the tools, databases, and what are the resources? That's it. You have to always think, whenever somebody is trying to ask you or show you an MCP application, ask where is the client, where is the server, what capability server has. Here in this demo that I'm going to show you now, my server capabilities are, if you see here, my server capabilities are employee directory of a company. So some data you can think of, sales data, and server resources. This is my resources. As I told you, MCP can have tools and resources. So in resources, it has my company employees data, it has my sales data, and it has my server status. These are the resources. I have tools as well in my server. Search employee tool, it will find any employee. Calculate total sales, it will sum the sales. Add employee, it will add new staff and department stats, it will give you some stats based on the department. So these are my server capabilities. So I can do these things through my MCP tool. I told you, when the MCP happens, then it happens through a protocol. So we need to define a protocol. So the full form is Model Context Protocol. And in this example, right, the protocol I'm using is JSON RPC 2.0, just the name of the protocol, nothing fancy here. This is the name of the protocol, JSON RPC 2.0. And this is my running application. So for example, if I go and ask here, who is CEO of the org? I have given employee data. So for example, you can say, you can see here, the user is asking for CEO of organization. To answer this, we need to identify CEO's roles and responsibility, their department, blah, blah, blah. To answer your question, I used MCP protocol to real time. According to our company employee database, CEO is Alice Johnson. She is the part of executive department and holds the role of CEO. So left hand side that, and here if you see, right, MCP protocol system ready, supported methods initialize, resources list, resources read, tool list, tool call. So these are the methods it is supported. Then it is starting protocol session. Then AI decides that what it needs to call. Then it goes to the resources, reads that, and sends you response back. So basically what you need first of all server with some capabilities. Then you need a client which can talk to the server in the way server expects. And then this is just an UI. So UI can be made more beautiful or less beautiful. UI is just for, showing you. I will give you this complete code, but let me go and show you how to define a simple server. Okay. So first understand server, then understand client, and web UI is basically what you saw now, web UI. Okay. So first let's go and see how the server is defined. So in this case, if you don't know, load.env is for loading my environment variables. I'm using grok here because I don't want to waste money, so it's basically almost free. So I'm using grok API key. And if you see here, okay, this is my client, so go to server. In the server, right, so you will see that some packages I'm importing. And here in the class MCP request, right, you need to define standard request message format. So whenever a request is getting sent, right, in which format it will get sent, as I was telling you here, this format needs to be defined. For example, you can say that I will always send you a string. From here to here, you can say that I will send you a JSON list or JSON file, whatever. So here a string is getting defined. for request. This is for MCP request, same for MCP response. In the MCP protocol implementation, right, I am defining some methods. So if you see here in the front end, right, it is telling that these are the things I have access to. Support methods: initialize, resource list, resource read, tools list, tool call. So these are the methods that is being supported in my server, and that comes from here: list resources, read resources, list tools, call tools. So these are the things my server is capable of doing. Some error codes, if the error comes, then these are the codes to give. Create request. Basically what you are going to do is you are going to use the MCP request here, initialize basically this class, and initialize with the parameters. So whenever the create request will be called, right, so it will be called with this request JSON dumps, right, so it will create the input in that format. Same thing for response. This is parsing message. So basically JSON parsing, nothing much happening here. Class MCP server, you give name to your server. For example, here I'm saying company server. So company server is name of your server. So you need to give a name, right? So here also that name will be displaying somewhere, company server. So just a name, okay, company server. And protocol is MCP protocol. Here I'm preparing some data. If you paid attention there, I asked who is my CEO, and tool said your CEO is this person, because I have given data like that. So ID1, name this, role CEO, department this. Similarly, some data here. So basically what I'm doing is I'm giving employees data and sales data of a company to this server. So what my server is having? My server is having employees data and sales data. You have sales data for Jan, Feb and March. So if you are going to ask a December sales information or October sales information, it is not going to give you. It should not give you. It should not hallucinate. That's important. I will show you. It will not hallucinate. This is the data that I'm giving. Data part. Okay. And here I'm just loading that data. Then I'm registering MCP capabilities. So register resources and tools in MCP protocol format. So what is the use of this? Inside the server, I'm saying I will give you X number of tools, X number of tools, and Y number of resources. This is the entire asset that you have. And using these assets only, you have to answer me. So I'm saying first thing what I'm going to give you is employee information. Name is employee directory. What format? JSON format. You saw here, right? It is a JSON format. Second thing what I'm going to do is sales data. What format? JSON format. Third thing, status. So this status information is basically server information that will come in JSON format itself. No need to define it. This is what is the status of server, etc. This is about resources. Resources means data that you are giving. But I told you there will be resources and there will be tools as well. So I need to define tools as well. Go to the tools format. Search employees is one of my tool. It will need a query, and that type should be string. Calculate total sales, another tool. So if you remember right here, MCP resources, employee data, sales data, status data. MCP tools, search employee, calculate sales, add employee, department stats also will be there. So add employee. When you want to add a new employee, you need to give name, role and department, this format. When you want department status, you need to give in this format. And then what we are saying handle protocol message. So basically when the message comes, how the request will be received and how the response will be sent. So here I'm, if you remember right, here we defined few stages: initialize, list resources, read resources, list tools, call tools. So that is all we are doing here in this part. If method is initialized, then handle initialize. If method is list resources, then handle list resources, read resources, and all these will be defined. So for
Am
example,
I?
yeah,
Yeah. So this tools we are using is it to facilitate the resources? Is it like so the tools
uh,
that we are using is on top of the resources?
yes, correct. Resources are different, tools are different.
Okay. I mean to say the tools that we are using, right? Are you calling any referring any function in the resources? Is it both are dependent tools
No,
and
both are
resources?
not dependent, both are independent.
Okay, okay. Hmm.
Both are independent, but if I go and say that, for example, here is my data. For example, this is my data. So if I go and say, give me a average sales of Feb and March, right?
Okay,
In this case, my system should use data, which means resources, plus
okay.
tools, both.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So my system will know that data part I can get from resources, and
Okay.
to calculate average, I need the tools.
Tools. Okay.
So both will work together whenever needed. Not always, but whenever needed.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So here we were in this part. So we are simply saying, okay, when handle list resources comes into picture, then these are the resources value and um, server name and etc. I told you, right? In status, we have not defined anything. So it comes from directly the system itself. So self.tool, self.resources. So no need to define here. Some error handling here and formatting. So list tools is, if you can see, listing tools. Call tools is calling tools. So tools name will be there and arguments will be there. Important, because whichever tool you are calling, the arguments should be matching to that signature. Otherwise, it will not work. So tools with arguments. And then next question is, where is the tool implementation? So tool implementation is here. So if somebody is searching an employee, go and search here. If somebody is wanting to calculate sales, etc., this is how you calculate sales. If somebody wants to add an employee, this is how you can add a new employee. So basically what that tool does. Okay, so self dot company data employees append new employee. So if you give those three things, right? For example, ID, name, role, and department, these four things, system will add a new employee because it knows how to add through this tool, through the add employee tool. So we are defining the flow, like whichever instruction comes, this is how you have to access the tools. So now we have tools ready, now we have capabilities ready, and these are just some print statements to guide you through. Here, if you initialize the server, right, all these things are inside the server. If you see here, right, class MCP request, MCP protocol, class MCP server. So you have to simply initialize the server, and if you say list capabilities for now, let me show you. It will just list you the capabilities. So for example, if you say Python MCP server.py, I'm saying just list me the capabilities of MCP, nothing else. I'm just calling server now, nothing to do with client, etc. So see here, this is what I have run now. Loaded 4 employees, loaded 3 months of sales data as I showed you. MCP server capabilities, resources, resources, tools, 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 tools. Protocol methods, initialize this. MCP server ready with real protocol. Protocol used is this. To run the client, you can use client. I have not given you a walkthrough. Let me give you that as well. But from client, we can run MCP client.py, and web UI we saw once, but we will see again. You can keep a complex server with many tools, many resources, or you can keep a very simple server. For example, if you go to this, right, in just 2 3 lines you can create a server. but that server will not have any capabilities. My server has capabilities. So if you give it a walkthrough, right, you will see that 4 lines are enough to create a server. But here I am showing you more detailed so that you understand what is happening inside. So you will create server, you will define how the talk should happen, and you will define your tools, resources, everything. Once you have server ready, first thing is server. One more thing I want to show you, there are many servers available for you to use. So go to Google and search MCP servers. Okay, MCP servers are specialized server designed to deliver real-time structured and relevant information to large language models or AI agents. So the meaning of that is, if you go to GitLab or GitHub, right? Okay, there is some problem in my Git, but you can see that there will be many servers listing here. Okay, which means any of these servers you can use by following their methods of using. So for example, MCP servers, right? Bright data, this server, that server. So for example, if you open this one, right? MCP A to a gateway server that bridges MCP with agent to agent protocol, enabling MCP compatible. Overview, this server does something. So all the servers have some capabilities. Okay. Out of this list, right? Any server you can use in your program, you just have to follow how they are asking you to follow the methods. A server for text to speech generation using Avis speech engine. So you can try this out. So you can take this, download this, and start using it directly. And if you are using this server on cloud desktop, this is how you have to use. And if you are using in Python local development, this is how you can use. Basically, there are many servers which are ready to be used. And now we have created one server from scratch here, which is also ready to be used. But for using any server, you need a client. Client programs are normally small programs. In this demo, I have imported server from MCP server. If you see here, this is my MCP server Python package. Okay. From MCP server, import server. Server means I have imported server from there. And then I will simply, the only thing of this client is, only job this client should do is, I am loading my Grok API key, and then this is my constructor that will simply list that which are the available capabilities. This is initialize. If the initialize method happens, then this is what will happen. Then it will take the result, it will parse it. Some error handling is there. For example, if handshake fails, then this should happen. Discover server capabilities means it will tell you these are the capabilities of the server because the connection has happened, right? These are some examples of user questions that you can ask. First thing is plan MCP actions with the user question. Second thing is execute protocol plan. And third thing is synthesize answer. So 3-step process here. When you give a user question, right, it will give to AI, means basically your LLM here, in this case my Grok model, and a plan will be there, plan MCP actions. Then it will be executed, and then once it gets executed, right, then the refined answer or synthesized answer. So it will get something from tools and resources, right? Basically you will give a query here. At the moment you give a query, right, what will happen at step 1? Step 1 is plan what to do. This is step 1. Step 2 is basically, what is my step 2? Execute plan using protocol. So plan, execute. Once the execution has happened, right, in the third step, AI creates final answer using gathered data. So final answer. So final answer. And once the final answer comes, client is going to get the answer. Those are 3 steps inside the client. And as from the name only, it's clear, right? What is the user question? First of all, through a prompt, it will send it to, you see here I'm using Llama 3.18 billion instant. From Grok, it will send it and tell it, you plan MCP protocol actions, return only valid JSON and planning prompt. So planning prompt is what? This prompt. You are an AI that needs to plan MCP protocol. Here are the resources, here are the tools, here is the user question. Okay, resources, tools, user question. It will go here. You are going to get a plan. Once you get a plan, you are going to execute that plan. Resources needed, you are going to hit that resources read, right? If it's a create request, protocol resources read, send via protocol and parse response. So basically you will send your input, whatever you get back, right, that you will parse. If you have to use a tool, so up to from here to here, it's basically resources, read resources via MCP protocol from here to here. If you have to use tools, you will call the tools with proper signature. Okay, then you will get the result and you will pass the data. This is your MCP data. Once you have the data back, what you're going to do, you're going to synthesize the answer with LLM help. So again, you are going to take help of LLM here, and you are saying you are an helpful AI assistant. Use the MCP data to provide accurate answers. Synthesis prompt. What is synthesis prompts? This one. Using the data gathered through MCP, provide a helpful nature answer. This. And then whatever you are going to, this is just demonstration. So just some print statements. So if I have to run this, right, I will show you once how the client will run independently without web UI. Python MCP client.py. Okay, this is your client running without the beautification of UI. So Python MCP client py, syntax warning, fine. So MCP server, company server started with protocol support, fine. Loaded 4 employee data, fine. Loaded 3 employee data. MCP client starting. MCP request is initialized because first of all it should initialize. MCP handshake is connected. It should happen, otherwise it will fail. Connected to MCP server, sending list resource. So first thing, it should list my resources. MCP request resource list. Discovered 3 resources. If you remember, 3 resources were there. Then tools list. Discovered 4 tools. Now MCP protocol message used. These are the messages we have defined. This is the message format. Current capabilities, resource 4 and tools 3. Now let's go ahead and ask something. So for example, mm, give me an overview of this company. Now it will be interesting to see how it is planning. So see here, planning MCP protocol actions. To provide an overview of company, we need to understand its structure and performance. The employee directory will give us information about size, roles, and departments. The sales data will provide insights into revenues and performance. We will use the search employee tool to get the sense of company size and diversity, and department stats tool to understand performance of different departments. So first of all, it will go and hit the employees, that resource, first one. Reading, successfully read. Then sales, reading, read. Okay. Then tools. So it is calling tool with some employee name. It is getting, then department of stats. And final answer is, based on the data, I can give you overview from it seems the company dynamic and growing. Leadership, CEO is this guy. Team structure, sales performance. I use the MCP protocol to access real-time company data to get this a powerful tool that allows. So it is basically high level about the company. So as I told you, if it's an agent, there is a very good chance of hallucinating with something it doesn't know. But here, very less chance. So let me ask, where is my data first? Let me see my data and ask me something which is not there in the data. For example, hmm, I will say give me the deals in October because I have not given that. Give me the deal count in October. I want it to say that I don't know that. Okay, I have checked sales data, which gives me real-time access. Unfortunately, it seems we don't have any recorded sales data for October. Our available data only goes up to March. This is what I want. If it doesn't know, it should tell me I don't know. So average deal size, etc. It is telling me. And if you want to quit, you can simply quit. So this was your client. And if you want to launch your web UI, right? So in web UI, I can ask some questions. I had listed some things while building. For example, I can say, what is the average deals from the month of Feb and March? So it is summing up the deal and dividing by 2, as you can see here. 18 and 15 are for these 2 months. Summing and dividing up. No hallucination, complete overview we saw, and some simple things. How many deals were in the March? Let's change it. Was it better than April? To answer this, we need to determine total sales for March and April. Fine, you can see planning here and answer here. I couldn't find data for April, so this is what we want. So AI analyzes your question, AI decides what capabilities it needs and synthesizes final answer. On the right hand side, you can see which tools are getting used here. So this is the one, for example, this is the one, tools or resources, I mean to say. So if you have a background of agentic AI, then you might get little confused on how it is different from agents. Always remember, agents is its own boss. Okay, that is how I understand. AI agents are boss in itself. AI agents say that, okay, I'll go this way, I'll go that way, I will talk to this guy or this tool like this, I will talk to this resource like that. So all the decisions, central authority is agent. Here we don't give that much authority to the central body. We control that by fixing signature, fixing how you should talk, fixing here are the things you can use, and controlling hallucination. Most important, scalability problem, right? So when you define that this is the way you should talk, right, then what will happen is scalability will become simple, maintenance will become simple, control will become more. So in the video I was showing you, right, I had explained a concept of, in the world of, in the world of MCP there is a problem of M cross N um, complexity basically. So what it tells you is, if there are N tools, if there are, let's say there are N tools and M AI agents, M agents and N tools, and these agents want to use these tools. So how many integrations I need to worry about? M into N integration I need to worry about. But if I fix the protocol, if I say that, okay, if you want to use tool 1, then tool 1 sits inside server 1, and anybody who wants to use tool 1, you go and hit server 1 with this method and use tool 1. Please pay attention to whatever I'm saying here. In the previous world, in the normal agentic flow world, right, M agents and tools, you need to take care of M into N integrations. In the MCP world, you put these tools inside a server. You call that server 1. You say that whoever wants to use tool 1, you need to follow this process and hit this server, and tool 1 will be available to you. Simpler. On the other hand, this is from the tool side. On the other hand, there is a agent, or there is a, don't say it agent, say it a MCP client. On the client side, right? If there is one additional client that I need to spin up, so I have, let's say, 5 clients or 5 agents, and if I need to spin up a sixth agent, right? I no need to worry about these integrations. I will just go and search where are my tools sitting. So I need server 1, server 2, server 3, and I know what are the ways of talking to them. So this scenario, people are calling it plug and play scenario. And at a very high level, what they are saying is M cross N has become M plus N, which is a huge advantage in terms of scalability. So if you want to introduce a new tool, easy. If you want to spin up a new agent, that is also easy in the world of MCP protocol. Why? Because you have defined how to speak, how to handshake, how to send and get the response. Is it clear to you guys whatever we discussed?
Yeah, Aman, I think I missed that code logic. Can you show me the code where you are controlling the hallucination?
Which part? Which part?
Yeah, where you are controlling the hallucination.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have written that in prompt. Let me show you. In one of the prompt, it's there. Wrong.
Was it the synthesis prompt?
Let me see. I gathered via MCP. Provide a helpful natural answer by conversation. What you can mention that you used. Okay, fine. Somewhere I have given that. I need to see. But somewhere I have told that if you don't know, just don't hallucinate.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Yeah.
If I can ask a follow-up question there,
Sure.
that this is a huge capability, right? I mean, if we can stop hallucinations, that's one of the main problems with trying to bring these things in and build, production applications on top of that. Beyond just writing a nice prompt and then doing a lot of testing, is there an aspect to MCP where we can provide any hard guarantees around that? I mean, I know these aren't really totally deterministic, but as part of the design of MCP, there's like a clear line where you can draw and say, this is where I'm going to stop the hallucinations.
Um, Whatever I have seen in my experience is mostly lot of testing and lot of if it's a critical applications like banking domain or health domain, insurance domain, etc. Always there will be a human in the loop till now, till this time, 2025 July August, right? But any AI tools, right? If it's a non-critical application where we can accept little bit of hallucination, that's still okay. But if our capability is not there to accept it, there are always human in the loop. So to answer your question, no guaranteed way to stop hallucination as of now.
So it would be then just a statement that we're putting into one of our prompts to say, make sure you're using the tools here and try not to answer, with hallucinations, basically to draw it to push it toward using the tools, but we can't really force it. Is that?
we can reinforce it. We can tell that if you don't have any capabilities in tools, etc., then simply say that you don't have capability.
Okay.
That is one big problem of any modern LLM AI application. The server is not a physical server in your code. Is it a seeded data, correct? Yes. It's not a external server. It's basically, if you see in my code, right? mm, from the scratch, I have defined a server here. So I have defined a protocol, I have defined a server here. And this server I can publish on these portals. Like I was showing you a portal, right? So I can publish my server. I can say that this is how you can use my tools, etc. But currently it's in my local. And if you go and do using this website, you can do both ways. So you can create your own server using something known as fast MCP, right? So fast MCP lets you create your own server quickly, and you can keep adding different capabilities in that server. So it's on my local currently. Is MCP used to share context between agents? So basically, MCP is a protocol that can be used with the agents as well. That's not a problem. Typically, how agents work is slightly more broader than how MCP works. I mean, this protocol works. Can MCP as a protocol be used with AI agents? Yes. And what are you asking? Can you run through tools like N89, etc.? Build context and take decisions. Yes, it does. It does. And here I have defined my own simple tools. But if you go to this page here, right? So in the diagram I was showing, right? It is also able to connect with external database like any other rich AI app, right? It can connect to an external DB and fetch information. We can take this to AWS or any other cloud platform as well. And there are several in servers you can have something known as prompts as well. So these kind of tools and resources we saw, right? So there can be prompts, templates, prompts as well. Example tool definition, the same way we have seen in our example. And this is how it is searching with a keyword and um, basically the format, right? So this kind of format it is searching with. This page is very interesting. You must visit this page and try to build your own, put some tools and put some capabilities and try to call it from, one thing, this is from uh, easy to do in Anthropic. So if you have cloud desktop like this, right, you can use that. So here you can use a MCP server and it will come here. Basically there is a process to do that. That process is defined here. See, many LLMs do not have. We will build a server that exposes two tools, then we will connect server to MCP host. So in this case, what will happen is in your tool desktop, basically, it will come and you need to make few changes in some configurations, then it will work. So that's an interesting assignment. You can do that. When to use agentic AI as a development approach for a given problem. So the thumb rule is if you want a complex decision making and you want the system to take its own decision without lot of human intervention or lot of program intervention, right? You go for agentic AI. And if you want a more controlled approach, if you want something where you what tool can give it back, you want to have a more explainable kind of systems, right? Then you go for MCP, core MCP. But mixing agentic AI and MCP, it will be, I have not seen many people doing that till now. The reason is both serve their own purposes, and you can do it and you can try how it works. So it's like from one end we are giving free hand to work, and from other end we are blocking the capabilities. So that is how it is slightly not coming together well. But don't underestimate agents as well, because as I said, right, agents is one of the must to know, must to practice, must to do the concept in the world of AI this year. Any more questions, guys? So I will, okay, let me give you now only this.
Yeah, sorry, quick question, Aman. So I was wondering, since we're putting a lot of the, as you said, we're kind of taking autonomy away, you could say, by using MCP, we're putting a lot of the capabilities into the MCP part of this and minimizing essentially what the LLM is doing. Would this open the opportunity for using lower cost, sort of, lower resource models? If we have a lot of MCP servers available, moving to some of the very simple, low parameter models and stuff, you're not going to see a big change in the capabilities of your app. Would that be a reasonable assumption?
Yeah, that's a reasonable assumption. And that's the reason here also we are not using some very fancy model,
Mm,
simple model only.
cool.
We take some load off from the LLM basically.
Sorry, another question, if you
No, no
just
problem.
kind of a curiosity, but I was wondering, I mean, there's a lot of interest now in running these really tiny models on edge devices, right? Like running them on phones and stuff. Do you hear about there being a lot of aggression in building out MCP for like mobile use cases, edge use cases a lot?
This is a very new concept. It's been just like 4 or 5 months. I have not seen much yet, but I'm sure it will come. And edge devices and mobile devices, there are more things that if you go to, for example, all these cloud guys, right? AWS or GCP or Azure, they are offering specific services for edge devices. Like this is what will do very nice on edge whenever you have to deploy something on an edge device. So those plus these new concepts, right, can bring in something really interesting in the future. But what I have seen is MCP is mostly solving the problem of um, where we want to have a where we want to use LLM capabilities, AI capabilities in a controlled way. So some kind of, let's say, to give you some use cases, right? Um, tagging of complaints in different categories. For example, if there is a bank and I want to say, okay, this is accounts related problem or card related problem, or so these kind of complaint categorization or routing emails, these kind of use cases I'm seeing where they want to see that, okay, this is a use case, I see it's working, so let's go ahead and deploy it. Edge devices, it will definitely come on from the other end. Lot of these cloud guys are also giving edge specific services, so these two things should come together.
Cool. Thanks for sharing insights, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to download the file and give it to now only so that you can practice. Some beautification I have done using AI tool, but the concept remains same. Okay. Any other questions, guys? And all of you, if you have
So,
not,
or
yeah, yeah, go
just
ahead.
a quick one. Yeah, just a quick one. You gave example of sales analysis, like an employee that model, right? In that, and so basically, suppose we want to extend that and come up with sales forecasting, like where there is some kind of decision or help, decision support system is involved. So you kind of go for high level with agentic AI, and you control based on the domain, like if it is say pharmaceutical company, maybe you can control it using with MCP. Is it like my understanding correct, or what do you think actually?
What I think from my experience is sales forecasting is always very complicated and very um, domain specific plus company specific thing. So
Okay. Mhm.
this itself is a huge area in itself.
Okay.
And
Mhm.
if you see what these tools are good at, right? All these AI tools, they are at this moment, right? They are good at doing generic stuff very, very well. But
Mhm.
if we want them to do specific stuff with good accuracy,
Mhm.
I would prefer doing my own sales forecasting separately, not using these
Oh,
tools.
okay, got it.
Yeah.
And did you give the code here? I didn't see that.
Yeah. I'm trying to paste I have created a zip file, but zip file is not getting pasted.
Oh,
So,
okay. Mhm.
but what I will do is, worst case, if I'm not able to give, right,
Yeah.
I can when the recording goes live in the recording, I'll give.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you very much, Sherman.
Yeah.
It was very informative and really appreciate you doing this. Thank you.
Thanks, guys, and learn about agentic AI as much as you can do. Okay, due to two reasons. One is in your resume, if you write agentic AI, there is a high chance of getting shortlisted for interviews. Second is not many people are able to confidently talk about agentic AI. So even if you are at some level, right? I'm not saying you'll be an expert, but if you are at some level, it will be helpful for you in interviews. So I mean, if you are spending some time learning about concepts, learn agentic AI. That will be helpful. Okay. Okay. I have a question. Thanks, Janet, for attending. Thanks, Mahendran. Thank you, Yon Silyang. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Okay, I have a question. I use Google ADK and MCP server. Can you guide me how we create scalable solution? Create one agent and use MCP as tools. Create 8 sub-agents. So I have not seen your solution. I have not seen what is that your. What you can do is you can send me in message a summary of what you're trying to do and what is that is kind of blocking you or you're not able to do or you're not able
So
to move.
yeah, so basically, I want to ask, with this entropic, how you means if we go in entropic desktop, we can integrate as many as MCP server we can integrate. So this is means in my client project. So which philosophy we need to use? Like in for MCP integration, like we have a 8 MCP server. Like if we take a example like GitHub, Azure DevOps, and Azure MCP server. So, which create only one agent to like how it will take means other thing is take care by our MCP client, or create a sub agent of for each and every task and integrate MCP server. So yeah, that philosophy of create a agent. And so yeah, that want to uh, ask.
Second option. So create a separate agent for each specific area or each specific task that you want to do, and then have one-to-one connection with server which is having that capability,
Okay, perfect. Yeah, thank you.
because it will help you to debugging and management as well.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And another question is, I know some platform like Smith3 and MCP Pulse. So where we can find existing MC purpose? Are you know any means? Are you have any list where we can find predefined MCP server, or you know?
On GitHub, it's a huge list. If you remember the list I was showing that did
Yeah,
not open.
awesome MCP server.
Awesome MCP servers.
No, no, means like Smith 3 and Smith 3 like platform. So where we need to they like if I say about Smith 3 means we need to run just one command npx command and our MCP server is ready. So where we can provide MCP server as a tool. I think they provide something like that. So that type of other website means
So you want to provide your own server, you want to expose your own server, or you want to use someone's server?
use like here if we try to approximately 5,000 more than 5,000 plus MCP server is available. So people are community is created this MCP server. So create
Mm-hmm.
where just we need if we want to use as a remote MCP, then just run one Smith 3 or our API key, something similar, because we can say in industry Smith 3 is not allowed to use because Smith 3 will take some means this is their server, so they will take data confidentiality. So any open source or similar kind of platform, are you aware, so we can create a
Yeah.
solution?
Now I understood what you're asking. So this Smith 3, right?
Yeah.
Or any of these kind of tools, right? Any companies will not allow you to use this, of course, because everyone and anyone is going to put something here. So what they are putting, nobody knows. I would suggest you should only focus on the authentic sources. For example, uh, I will say Microsoft MCP servers, and in your company, whichever is using more, right? Whichever cloud you are using more, that those guys also give, or by Anthropic or by these companies, OpenAI, right? Try to use from them. Don't try to use everything you get on internet. So for example, I'm 10 Microsoft MCP servers to accelerate your workflow. So these are reliable things, we can use it. So we have a documentation and GitHub, everything, right? These things we can use without any problem, and you will get approvals also for these. But for those, even if you build something in POC, you are not going to get approval for deployment or take it forward. Getting me right? Make sense? Kaviya Yash Kumar. Oh, I think he got dropped off. Anyway, any other questions, anyone? Okay, if nothing else, then see you all in the next lab session. Don't forget to give a feedback. And as always, if you have any queries, either message me or tag me in the lab recordings. I could not give you the file here because somehow GIF file is not getting attached. So in the recording, I will attach that. Don't worry. Recording will come maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow. I'll attach that. Thanks everyone for taking time out on a Sunday and spending in learning. See you all. Bye.